Welcome into another edition of the DFO DFS report. Here we go. Okay, welcome into another edition of DFO DFS report. It is Friday, December the 1st. Happy December, happy Friday to everybody. Sorry for the lack of full charts and the lack of a show yesterday. 14 games, really busy day in my life. And just didn't have the time. So, unfortunately, that's going to happen from time to time right now. With the baby kind of on the way here in the next week or so. So my life's getting pretty crazy, and yeah, just didn't have time yesterday. So a little bit easier, a little bit more manageable slate tonight, just 2 games. If you missed it, we dropped a Discord. Pretty much nothing happening in there at the moment. I said it the other day. I'm gonna need some help. I have no Discord knowledge whatsoever. I was able to create the server, and you guys are all welcome to come pop in and join and chat DFS. But definitely going to need a hand setting some cool stuff up for you guys. We had one going a few years ago with DFO DFS premium subscribers. We had some really cool guys in there, some guys that were really good with this Discord stuff, and we're able to set up all sorts of fun channels and whatnot. So yeah, if any of you guys have expertise, let me know. Be happy to make it a little bit more fun. I tweeted it out this morning. The link, I also just dropped it in the chat, the live chat to join if you want to come on over and hang out with us. Will be fun. But yeah, let's get into tonight's 2-game slate. A couple interesting tidbits here in the last few moments about the New Jersey Devils. Dougie Hamilton, left torn pectoral muscle, is out indefinitely. Pretty brutal news. Simon Nemec is going to make his NHL debut. He was the second overall pick in 2022. Timo Meier also returns to the lineup this evening tonight. His price is pretty reasonable as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's like 5,400, which is pretty reasonable for Timo Meier. It's also going to be, it's 5,800, excuse me. So he's not in the sheets right now because obviously I wasn't 100% sure he was going to play, but it does look like he's going to be in. So we'll have to kind of figure out what line he's going to be on in warmups. Luckily, both these games start at 7 o'clock, so both warmups will be at 6:30. 2 logical landing spots for him. One would be on the Hughes line, replacing Dawson Mercer. Dawson Mercer moves back to a more familiar third line role. The other spot would be replacing Andre Palat on the second line, moving Palat back to the third line. I think both have a pretty equal chance of happening. Because they played last night. They didn't skate this morning, so we have no real indication on where he's going to land. So it's going to be difficult for me to chat about exactly where he's going to end up in the lineup because at this moment we don't really know. It's going to be one of those 2 spots. So what I would do is kind of build with the intention, if I'm building New Jersey 1, I'm going to play him with Meier. If I'm building New Jersey 2, I'm going to build it with Meier and then be ready to pivot when you find out that it's not Meier. Because it'll be a lot easier to pivot that way, going down in price to Mercer or Palat than it will be kind of the opposite direction. So it'll feel like you're opening up some freedom as opposed to just scrambling to try to fix your lineup. So yeah, he's going to be in. Really nice price against his former team. Obviously, they give up a shitload of goals. So here we go. The Blue Jackets I should probably talk about the goalies. Elvis Merzlikins gets the nod for the Columbus Blue Jackets, most likely. Jonas Korpisalo starts in Columbus against his former team. We're expecting to see Vitek Vanacek. Beebs will be in the chat to let us know if Vanacek is confirmed, but it should be Vanacek on the second of a back-to-back. It will not be Mackenzie Blackwood for the San Jose Sharks. I thought maybe with Hakkinen last night and leave Blackwood to start against the New Jersey Devils tonight. Maybe just to showcase, that the Devils messed up when they decided to get rid of Blackwood for next to nothing and keep Vanacek and Schmid, who have not played very well. Schmid's starting to turn things around. Vanacek has been struggling for the majority of the season. So those are your 4 goalies. Pretty cut and dry situation here. Here we go with the Sportsbooks implied totals. Not surprising. New Jersey Devils highest on the list at 4.5, followed by the Ottawa Senators. Columbus Blue Jackets 3.1, and the San Jose Sharks at 2.9. In terms of the DFO implied totals, pretty similar. A little bit higher on the Sharks, mostly due to Vanacek. A little bit higher on the Blue Jackets and less, not quite as high on the Ottawa Senators. But let's get into it. We'll start with the Blue Jackets and the Senators game. The Blue Jackets are playing much better. They're starting to turn a corner, it seems. They've been much better as of late. I think that the one way that I'm going to get different tonight is largely due to the Blue Jackets. If you take a look at the own percentages or expected own percentages, a lot of times you'll be able to figure out kind of exactly who's going to be high owned based on the overall raw projections, because that's how most sites are going to be spitting out their optimizers. So, yeah, New Jersey 1 obviously going to be massively, massively popular tonight against the San Jose Sharks. I think obviously New Jersey 2, especially if Timo Meier's on that line, is going to be much higher owned. I think whichever line Meier lands on is probably going to get a boost in ownership. But yeah, New Jersey 1, New Jersey 2, certainly going to be the two highest owned lines on the slate. Then I think Ottawa 1 and Ottawa 2 will be the next two highest owned lines on the slate. And then you're going to get into the, maybe the Blue Jackets, maybe San Jose's first line. Everybody seems to be in love with them right now. Their own percentage has been through the roof. I mean, they're playing well, so or fine, I guess, not well, but they've been pretty solid value options. Zetterlund, there's the Timo Meier revenge narrative. There's also the Fabian Zetterlund revenge narrative tonight. So they're going to see some ownership, and then Columbus, will probably fall somewhere in the middle of the pack. So I really like the Blue Jackets tonight to kind of get a little bit different. They're not going to be super low owned, but I do like the Blue Jackets. I really like Merzlikins trying to fade maybe some Ottawa chalk. Like I said, the Blue Jackets have been playing much better as of late. The Senators really have not been that great. Offensively, they've been fairly solid, so they can still definitely get there. From a DFS perspective, if you're targeting their first or second line tonight, I think they've lost 8 of their last 13 games, which is obviously terrible, but they've averaged 3.2 goals per game during that stretch. So even in losses, they're still getting their goals. They just can't really keep the puck out of their net, which again kind of goes back to why I like the Blue Jackets this evening. So that is like kind of the way I'm just going to open the show and how I'm trying to get different. I think I'm going to be on Columbus tonight. If the betting market's any indication, Ottawa is going to be pretty popular tonight. I think Columbus opened at plus 125 home underdogs, and they're out to like minus or plus 145, something like that. So it's like a 20-cent swing in favor of the Senators, which is just going to make their implied total go up, which is going to make them more popular in optimizers. So yeah, really like what you get out of Columbus tonight. We'll talk about them here in a second. Let's break down the overall numbers. So yeah, they are 15th best 5v5 offense going up against the 30th ranked 5v5 defense. So overall, second best 5v5 advantage. Their power play has been pretty terrible, 31st in the league. Going up though against the 27th ranked penalty kill is something that you could you can hang your hat on a little bit. Maybe the Blue Jackets power play can get going against a really bad penalty kill. On the other side, the Senators have not been very good. 5v5 offense is 22nd, but the Blue Jackets really struggling defensively as well, 29th. So definitely looks like a game where both teams could get some offense going at 5v5. The Senators obviously much better on the power play, but the Blue Jackets penalty kill has been surprisingly good so far this season. So overall, looks like a slightly bigger advantage for the Blue Jackets, second at 5v5, third on the power play, and then third and fourth for the Ottawa Senators. In terms of the matchups tonight, you're going to see a pretty stiff matchup of Boone Jenner against the Josh Norris, Brady Tkachuk line tonight. 70% of Boone Jenner's projected ice time expected to come against Brady Tkachuk and company. Same thing goes obviously for that line, about 70% of their ice time. The rest of it after that is kind of a mix of bottom 9 against bottom 9, so nothing really to differentiate anything. The third line for the Senators draws a slightly more favorable matchup than the second line. Again, if you're trying to get different, I think going to that Ottawa third line is a way to do that. Tarasenko and Dominic Kubalik is who would be the guys I would target from that line. But let's take a look at the underlying numbers. So the top line for the Blue Jackets has not been super, super stellar. They've had their big games. They've had some kind of off nights. They've been playing better as of late. It is going to be a new look top line tonight. They lost Cole Sillinger to injury, so they recalled Kent Johnson from the AHL. Johnson, one of the highest touted prospects in the Columbus system. Definitely a lot of people were like, why is this guy down in the AHL? He's tremendously talented. He put up some solid numbers in the AHL. Now he's back and he's got a point to prove. It's worth mentioning that this man is minimum price tonight, which is another reason why I love the Blue Jackets. Ken Johnson probably going to draw a decent amount of ownership tonight just because he's minimum price. He's going to open up quite a bit of value there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of like upwards of 20% owned this evening. So yeah, it comes in at 2,500. Really like that top line. Overall, they graded as the best line to target from the Blue Jackets, 6th best overall. Just 14,100 opens up a lot of options for you if you want to build obviously around the Devils. You can do that and just try to get a little bit different with some of your defensemen or your goalies. Speaking of goalies, I think Merzlikins is one way to do that. 7,800. He is more expensive than Jonas Korpisalo, despite being the underdog in this game. So naturally, I think a lot of optimizers and owners are just going to naturally draw it to Jonas Korpisalo cheaper, and he's the favorite. So Playing the Blue Jackets, fading the Senators with Merzlikins, and playing the Devils, I think, is one way that I'm going to try to get different this evening. So, yeah, really, really like Columbus 1. They've got the best matchup for the Blue Jackets. The rest of the matchups aren't that stellar, but on a 2-game slate, we're still going to have to talk about them. So the underlying numbers are not super strong for this Fantilli line A combination. Kind of surprising. Fantilli was starting to play better. Like the shot volume was climbing. It was starting to look good. Kind of crashed back down to earth. Line A still kind of struggling. So yeah, I think this line on a 2-game slate draws a little bit more attention for me. I'm not over the moon about playing them at 13,000. I think the extra $1,000 to play Columbus 1 is the better option, but still pretty reasonably priced. Fantilli 4,400, line A 5,400. I think that this is definitely another way to get different tonight. I don't think that either one of these guys is going to draw a ton of ownership tonight. They're certainly going to be much lower owned than Columbus 1. So that's one way to look at things and try to get a little bit different this evening. If I had to guess, I would say that Columbus 2 is probably going to be half the ownership of Columbus 1. So that is obviously a way to do it. I think the third line is kind of interesting as well. You've got Chinakhov, Voronkov, and Marchenko as a line. We haven't really seen Voronkov at center this season, but with Sillinger out, they're going to give it a whirl. They're super cheap at 11,800. They are going to definitely not see a lot of ownership tonight. So again, they're fairly interesting. The numbers are actually pretty good. 6th best offensive line on the slate. And the matchup, though, is the worst that you've got for the Blue Jackets. So again, the matchup stuff's a little bit noisier when you've only got 2 games on the slate, but they represent, they have pretty good underlying metrics. It's kind of a cherry picked sample because we haven't really seen these guys play together too much, but all 3 of them have put up pretty good 5v5 metrics so far this season. So I think that on a 2-game slate, if you're building 20 lineups or whatever, I think that they're definitely a way to get different. They graded as the 8th best line at 11,800. A little bit of interest there if you're building a shitload of lineups tonight. Columbus 3 looks to be relatively solid value play in terms of their underlying metrics. The matchup kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. On the flip side, we've got Ottawa. The top line, pretty good matchup going up against head-to-head with that Boone Jenner line. The thing is that both those lines are pretty bad defensively. The Boone Jenner line does a lot or a pretty good job of limiting the high danger chances, but they play a pretty up-tempo game and give up a lot of shots against. So that bodes well for Merzlikins. He's going to see hopefully a ton of volume, but not a lot in the high danger variety. So yeah, I think that that's going to be, obviously this is an Ottawa top line that absolutely loves to fire the puck towards the net. 72.3 Corsi for up against a line that gives up 71.6 Corsi against per 60 in basically a hard match. I think you're going to see a lot of pucks headed towards the net from somebody like Brady Tkachuk. He's definitely a guy that can get over the shot volume bonus this evening in this matchup. Josh Norris is a guy that could get up there as well. So yeah, Ottawa 1 looks pretty steady tonight. Specifically, Brady Tkachuk's obviously a strong play. Claude Giroux on the other side, that's your top line tonight. I think that they're pretty solid. Moving Stützle down to the second line opens up a little bit of salary as well. Stützle is 7,200. Norris is just 5,500. So a little bit cheaper there. And yeah, I like Ottawa 1 a lot. And I think obviously if you just take, a look at the matchups, this looks solid. So as much as I like Merzlikins, Ottawa 1 is going to be popular tonight. I think one way to get different with Ottawa 1 it would be to try to just fade the Devils at that point. And see what happens. Obviously, your chances, of playing the Sharks and fading the Devils and being successful are relatively slim. But I think there's an implied win percentage of 20%? Yeah, 20.2% for the Sharks tonight. So yeah, it's obviously going to be a little bit of a risky thing to do. But again, it's a 2-game slate. If you're building a ton of lineups, that might be a way to get different. But yeah, Ottawa 1 looks like the best line to target from the Sens side of things. The second line and the third line look okay. Pretty similar underlying metrics. 7th and 10th best offensive lines on the slate. The second line, Stützle, Joseph, and Batherson. Stützle's lines really don't have the same type of offensive firepower when he's not with Brady TK. Very, very good defensively, though. So it's a solid line. I have much more interest in the top line. They just look to be have a little bit more offensive firepower. They have a little bit better matchup as well. So Ottawa 2 is okay, but I much prefer Ottawa 1. And then, as I mentioned, if you want exposure to the Sens tonight and not a high-owned exposure to the Sens, this third line's fine. Kubalik and Tarasenko specifically, neither has been very good. so far this season to start their tenure in Ottawa. But the matchup, like I said, is pretty decent. 73.3. You're going to see a steady mix of this bottom six for the Blue Jackets. A little bit more of the second line, which is what is beneficial for them. The second line for the Blue Jackets has been pretty terrible defensively, giving up plenty of high danger chances. So on a 2-game slate, I normally don't play a lot of Kubalik and Tarasenko given what they've done so far this season, but I do think that is a strong option this evening if you're really trying to find low-owned options and low-owned plays specifically on the Senators. So I would imagine Ottawa 3 is probably like a third of the ownership of what you're going to get on Ottawa 1 and 2. Their ownership might go up a little bit because people obviously are going to be jamming Devils into their lineup and looking for cheaper pivot options. So Ottawa 3 is going to draw more attention than they might in a normal way or in a normal slate, but just because of how obvious it is that New Jersey is a strong play tonight. But I think Ottawa 3 does represent a decent value play overall. Okay, next game. I guess we should talk about the power plays a little bit. Again, the Senators do a tremendous job drawing penalties, but the Blue Jackets, one of the most disciplined teams in the league. The Blue Jackets also have been very, very good on the kill. So overall, worst power play advantage on the night for the Senators. I guess I should mention as well, Thomas Chabot returns to the lineup for the Senators tonight. He's also going to be on the top power play unit. I believe he's pretty modestly priced as well, 5,000 or something like that, 4,900. Yeah, so Chabot looks like a strong play. If you didn't notice, I've added a little power play tag to the charts today. Projected top power play unit, second power play unit, yada, yada, yada. So that should be fun. That should be something that you should use. John Marino is probably not going to be on the second power play unit anymore that Simon Nemec is up, but that should be helpful when building, especially trying to find some cheaper options. So hope you enjoy it. And smash the like button for the new power play icons. Hey, why not? I think Chabot at 4,900 is very reasonable. I absolutely love Rowensky as well. If you're playing the Blue Jacket side of things, 5,600, he's been really just rock steady lately. The shot volume has been great, blocking shots as well. If you need cheaper options from this team, Adam Boquist is probably one of the better options. He's minimum, or he's 3,100. He's on the top not top power play, top pairing. So he's playing a little bit more, around 20 minutes a night. Right now, if you need a little bit cheaper, I prefer Jake Bean at 2,700. Not playing as many minutes, but he's blocking a lot of shots. And Jake Bean's been a guy that's got to the shot block bonus a couple times in recent games. So he's fine. Goodbranson's obviously a guy that blocks a lot of shots, but it's much more expensive. So that's that. And obviously you got kind of the mainstays for the Sens. Sanderson at 5,100 just doesn't make as much sense as Chabot on the top power play unit. And Chychrun, same thing. Obviously their own percentage is going to be lower because of that, but I like Chabot the most of that group. Next game, the Devils and the Sharks, obviously a pretty lopsided game here. The sportsbooks implied total is just wild. It's like back-to-back plus 400 nights for the San Jose Sharks. They got shut out in Boston last night in the same situation. They're the worst 5v5 offense, so the worst 5v5 defense. They're the second worst penalty kill, and their power play is pretty shit as well. So overall, not surprising. Number one 5v5 advantage, number one power play advantage on the slate for a Devils team that grades out fifth best 5v5 offense and third best on the power play. No Dougie Hamilton obviously sucks for them, but Luke Hughes stepped up in a big way last night. Luke Hughes probably going to be the highest owned defenseman on the slate. And for good reason, top power play, playing on the top pair now, and I believe he's only 3,800. So, obviously, we'll break down the Devils first. They're going to be super chalky. Like, the top line might be like 50% owned, honestly. Like, Jack Hughes might get up to like 75% tonight. Like, it's going to be a wild night. If you're building 20 lineups or whatever, you're going to want to get some exposure to the Sharks. Vanacek has struggled. I think the Sharks can definitely hang around a little bit in this game on a 2-game slate. I absolutely love targeting the Sharks because, if they do even lose 4-3 or something like that, like if Vanacek continues to struggle, the Sharks could definitely be optimal tonight. They're super cheap. I do still like San Jose tonight, but let's break down the New Jersey side of things. Again, it's a little bit more difficult without knowing which line Timo Meier is going to land on. If Beebs is still in the chat and if they leaked any information as to which line he's going to play on, that would be helpful. I don't think that I don't think Lindy Ruff is going to do that. He's pretty old school, but New Jersey 1, slightly worse matchup than New Jersey 2. New Jersey 2 is going to go head to head with the top line. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to project exactly what the top line of the San Jose Sharks are and which line that they're going to go head-to-head with. The Granlund line's been playing better lately, so it could be them. It could be Tomas Hertl's line. Granlund's line played a little bit more yesterday, so this matchup could actually switch depending on which one they actually deem as like the top line that they want Nico Hischier to go head-to-head with. Either way, it shouldn't matter much because they're all terrible defensively. The entire top 9 of the San Jose Sharks has been getting caved in. They've all got a Corsi for percentage under 43, an expected goals for percentage under 42%. So they've been just getting smashed all year. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you've got the New Jersey Devils, who have just been very, very good at 5v5. Top line, the Jack Hughes line, is insanely good. The second line, really not that much different. Things are going to change a little bit with Timo Meier in the lineup, but at this point, we're just splitting hairs here. So I don't think either one, I don't think any of you need me to tell you that New Jersey 1 and New Jersey 2 are tremendous plays tonight. They grade out 1 and 2. Obviously, New Jersey 2 is a little bit cheaper. They could get more expensive, but Timo's on that line. New Jersey 1 is expensive to begin with. If Timo replaces Dawson Mercer, they're that much more expensive. So, yeah, they're tremendous plays. I'm not going to break this down for you. I don't need to saw through the numbers. They're outrageously good plays. Kaapo Kähkönen has not been very good this year. He's had a couple of outlier starts, but I expect New Jersey to score a lot of goals. Could they give up a few? Let's take a look. The matchups are obviously pretty brutal across the board here for the Sharks. The second and the top 2 lines actually have slightly better matchups on the bottom 6. Doesn't really matter. These are bad. The offensive numbers are pretty much similar across the board. So to me, the Sharks are more of if you're building a lot of lineups, or if you want to just put in a super contrarian lineup, you're going to play the Sharks. The top line's been good. I would lean, if you're trying to get different, you might as well play the Hertl line because I think that the other line, the Zetterlund, Granlund, Duclair line, is actually going to draw a fair amount of ownership. Wouldn't be surprised if they're around 15% tonight. So at that point, you're taking a risk on a line that's really already kind of popular, and that this doesn't make a lot of sense. It's they're not in a good spot, and they're going to be popular. It's kind of shitty chalk. To me, I'd like the Hertl line more. Eklund, Hertl, and Hoffman. They should see pretty significantly lower ownership, I would imagine. At least probably half the amount of ownership you're going to see on the Granlund line. So to me, if you're going to get weird with the Sharks tonight, that would be the way. And then it's also kind of easy to forget that Tomas Hertl is their best player. So if you're going to give me their best player at lower ownership, then it kind of seems like a no-brainer to me. That being said, I still like Zetterlund a lot. His shot volume's terrific. You got to imagine he's going to have a little bit of extra juice tonight. So yeah, he's a strong one-off play. Granlund, as kind of a focal point for the Sharks, he's been more of a volume shooter this year, which has been an encouraging sign. So at 3,200, he makes for one of the best punts at center. Duclair is fine as well. And then Eklund obviously is a solid play at 3,700. Hertl 5K, and Hoffman has been solid lately as well at 3,800. So kind of pick your poison, which way you'd rather go. I'd rather play the slightly lower owned line with a similar matchup and similar offensive numbers, basically splitting hairs. I guess one line I didn't really talk about is the New Jersey third line, just because okay, so we just got news that Simon Nemec is going to take Dougie Hamilton's spot in the second wave of the New Jersey Devils power play tonight. So we don't know where Timo Meier is going to be, but we know where Nemec is going to play. So that's good. He's going to get some power play time, but he's not even on the slate, so it doesn't matter. New Jersey 3, again, good matchup for them. They've been pretty solid. Does Timo Meier slide into a third line role tonight and make that line even better? Perhaps. Does he fill in for Lazar? Maybe. McLeod's been solid at 3,100. Holtz 3,300. To me, they're an interesting way to get exposure to the New Jersey Devils with at a fraction of the ownership. And then you can go a little bit crazier on the Sens and the Columbus Blue Jackets and play some of their higher priced players. So New Jersey 3 is probably going to come in very, very low owned, and they're interesting. Again, keeping an eye on the lines and warmups is going to be key. Again, the one way you can do it, and I'm going to try as much as I possibly can, is to share the lines in the Discord. So if you haven't joined it yet, come on in, join the fun. We've had quite a few people join since we went live, so this is terrific stuff. Just it's gonna hopefully keep getting bigger, just like this show has, and just like the charts have as well. So join the Discord. Link's already in the chat. It's also on my Twitter at Brock_Seguin. So I'll be dropping lines and stuff, and all the lineup changes and warm-ups in there as well. Any goaltending changes, injuries, anything like that, to make sure you're getting all the best information. And it's free, right? I'm here to help. So Devils over 4.5 goals at plus 104 looks like a great play tonight. Yeah, I would agree. At plus money, I mean, scoring 5 goals is always kind of a a difficult ask. But when the implied total's at 4.5 and you're getting 5 at plus money, you're basically just looking for an empty net goal at that point. So I think that is the strong bet. It's not plus 104 for 5 goals is crazy talk usually, but it seems okay. I'll take plus money anytime I can get it. San Jose Sharks for all the Moonies. Like I said, they on a 2-game slate, it's fine. Should we ignore correlation a bit due to the slate? No, not necessarily. If anything, like I like to try to correlate more. Not necessarily more, but like correlate and leave money off the table is something I try to do. Maybe play like a cheaper defenseman that correlates better at 5v5. And then play like maybe the power play quarterback or something like that. Correlate still, but do it in different ways to try to get different. But obviously on a 2-game slate, like kind of all bets are off the table, right? Like you can play players against your goalie. I don't typically. It just seems to limit your upside, but like you can just conventional wisdom's kind of thrown out the window at that point on a 2-game slate. So some other defensemen, let's talk about them. Luke Hughes, obviously a great play at 3,800, going to be the highest owned defense on the slate. Werenski's great. Provorov's been really solid. 4,600 is a nice price for him. Love Shabbat. I never remember how to say this guy's name, man. It's such a tough name. Thank God for Hockey Reference on days like today. It is Ochiuk. Okay, something like that. Ochiuk. I think I'm still butchering it, but whatever. I'm trying my best here. 2,800, he's been a shot blocking machine. Our guy Mario Ferrara probably going to get plenty of chances to hit the shot block bonus tonight. Kalen Addison, still really like him. He's been playing more. He was up over 20 minutes, I think, last game. The shot volume's coming around, still in the top power play unit. Down for some Kalen Addison. Jake Bean, definitely. David Jiricek's fine, just doesn't play enough at 2,600. Who gives a shit? Boquist 3,100, starting to play more. His projection is going to keep climbing. Goalies, like I said, obviously Vanacek. The crazy thing about Vanacek is that he's only 8,100. I mean, Swayman was like 85 yesterday. I don't know why the Bruins get so much respect. But 8,100 for Vanacek with an 82% implied win percentage is crazy. So he's obviously the best goalie play on the slate. He's going to be the most popular goalie play on the slate. Like he might be 50-60% owned at 8,100 at an 82% implied win percentage. It's like, have we ever seen a price lower than a win percentage? I don't think I have. Korpisalo's, great. I mean, he's returning to Columbus at 7,600. He's going to be the second highest owned goalie on the slate. Swayman was 8,600. Okay, I was going to say that, and I thought that. I wasn't 100% sure if I was remembering correctly, but it was 8,600, which is hilarious. And he still probably hit value with a shutout. Korpisalo at 7,600 is fine. To me, I'd much rather play Merzlikins and fade the Ottawa Chalk because he's playing well. I just wrote about him. Let me pull up my stats. dailyfaceoff.com. Goalie rankings. Gay. Here we go. Merzlikins had a bit of a sluggish start, going 3-6-3 with a 331 goals against average and 897 save percentage in his first 13 appearances. However, 2-2-0 with a 252 goals against average and a 932 save percentage in his last 4 outings. So he's been much better. And I think it's easy to forget that Merzlikins was unbelievably good in his first 2 seasons. He was a 920 save percentage goalie in his first 2 seasons, then kind of fell off the earth and then was really bad last year. So if he's kind of returning to form a little bit, I want to be in on that. The Blue Jackets are at home. I bet on the Blue Jackets tonight. The Sens aren't playing that great. I like the Blue Jackets to kind of keep rolling. I like Merzlikins at 7,800 as the third highest owned goalie on the slate. And then obviously Capo Kakinen, if you want to get super weird and fade the Devils tonight, Kakinen's a fine play. He's probably going to face 50 shots. So could definitely be value, hit value tonight and still lose, right? So I probably won't have a ton of Kakinen. I think it's a tough spot. Like we just talked about how betting over 4.5 goals at plus 104 was a decent bet. So, Kakinen at 7,100 just doesn't seem like enough value. If he was like 68, 69, a couple extra $100, sure. But obviously, it's a way to get different. I just don't know if it's worth killing some of your lineups, maybe. Only playing one line tonight and don't have Jack Hughes at the moment. Probably a really stupid strategy. Probably. He has like 40 shots on goal in 6 games since coming back from injury. He's averaging like 6.3 shots per game. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it's a great strategy, but I mean, obviously at his price, he still has to have a big game to hit value at 9,400, by far the highest. If he doesn't have a big game, I mean, the leverage you have by not playing Jack Hughes is insane. Like I said, he might be 70% owned tonight. So, random question, but now that Velarde is back, does this change things for the Jets in a good way? Yeah. Obviously losing to Mestikov yesterday to injury hurts a little bit. But yeah, like Velarde's a stud. I think he's just going to keep getting better. He skated on the second line today and was on the top power play unit. So yeah, getting Velarde back is a good thing. I always thought that he was probably more of a natural fit in the top 6 than Nemestikov. Nemestikov probably better suited for this third, fourth line role. So yeah, I like Velarde a lot. Last I checked, Jack Hughes was plus money over 4.5 shots. Yeah, I bet that this morning. So I would get down on that as well. If he's still plus money, or if you can find a board where he is, then yeah, plus money at 4.5 shots for Jack Hughes. It seems like a good bet tonight. I already bet it this morning. So, okay, listen to Nick. Nick says, join the Discord, smash the like button. Absolutely love that. The amount of viewers is always a little bit lower on smaller slates. So let's still see if we can get, up over 50 likes. Keep smashing that like button to keep growing the channel, keep growing the show. And yeah, join the Discord because it's an absolute no-brainer. Smash the like button for the Wolverines, hopefully winning the Big Ten championship 3 years in a row tomorrow night. Hell yeah, go blue. All right, hat-trick picks. I mean, it's got to be from the Devils, right? Right. No, I'm going to get weird. Let me go Kent Johnson. Kid's going to come up. He's going to want to stay in the NHL. He's not much of a shooter, more of a facilitator. So it's probably a really bad hat-trick pick, but I don't give a shit. It's 2-game slate. Let's get weird. Kent Johnson, $2,500 hat-trick incoming tonight. Thank you guys so much. Join the Discord. We'll be in there all day. Oh, you want another link to the Discord, eh? All right. Scrolling up is hard, but it's fine. I will do it for you. Don't know how. Here we go. Here's the Discord. There we go. Ben. Yeah, join it. Join the fun. Lots of good and juicy info in there already. Let's have a great night. We will see you guys back here on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend and cheers.